Scholars, welcome back to week 2 of CJS485, Methods of Research in Criminal Justice. I hope we all had a successful first week, and I'm looking forward to, as we navigate through our second week of this course. So let's look at what we have in store for us for week 2. Hopefully this will answer your questions, give you some guidance, and prepare you for the deliverables that we have here in week 2. If we look at our agenda, we have 2 reading assignments. Chapter 3 out of the text, and then Chapter 8 and Chapter 9 out of the APA publication manual. For some of you, that Chapter 8 and Chapter 9 out of the APA publication manual, some of you might have that book, or some of you can easily access that information. Hopefully APA standards are nothing new for you, and you are well prepared for our APA standards, as these are the same standards that we use in all of our curriculum here at CBU. We have a journal entry that's going to be due on day 7 of week 2. Remember that we still work on a Monday through Sunday calendar with all assignments on every given week due by Sunday at midnight. We have some review and lecture materials. We also are going to introduce you to our CBU library that has an endless amount of information available that you can utilize most specifically for some of your literary review materials, some of your references, and have access to that, like I said, almost endless amount of information available through our library. We have a discussion board number 2. Once again, we see day 3 and day 7. Day 3 being when we want your first response, and then day 7 is the day that we need to have those 2 replies. And we'll go into more detail on that. And then quiz number 2. We have our module learning objectives. You can review these, and these are the objectives that we expect you to have an understanding of by the end of the week. Our reading assignments, once again, Chapter 3 out of the text and Chapter 8 and 9 out of the APA publication manual. For our week 2 journal, once again, we are going to be looking at those put it all together portions out of the text. In your journal, briefly reflect on the ethical issues that arose during the described studies. Describe at least 2 ethical concepts and how the researcher addressed these concerns. What are the pros and cons of ethical boundaries in the situation and choose? And was the benefit worth the cost in your opinion? Remember that journals are a conversation between you and me, as if I were to ask you a question in class and you would reply to me. So I expect it's an informal discussion, but just as much I want you to go into some in-depth in this, because our concentration or our focus this week is on ethical dilemmas when it comes to research. And remember, we're looking at this course through the lens of a researcher, and while a lot of research is very beneficial, there is ethical boundaries that all of us as researchers need to uphold. I've included the Chapter 3 PowerPoint that will discuss much of the reading. Like with all of our PowerPoints that I include, I suggest that you review the PowerPoint, do the reading, and follow up again on the PowerPoint. If you see that certain pieces of information have came up multiple times, those are probably the key topics that you want to absorb and to keep at the front of your mind as we navigate through this course. I have provided you with some links of some pages and videos that are associated with criminal research guidelines at our library. If we go to that link, you will see that there is quite a few of these different abstracts, some texts, academic research partners, all kinds of information. I don't expect you to read all of these, but what I do expect you to have an understanding that this website is available, it's at your disposal, and it gives you a number of options when it comes to criminal justice specific research. Get back to week 2 for us. There are also a number of library tools that are assist you. If we go to this link, we can see that there are a number of video tutorials, the 7 different tutorials on what is academic research, an introduction to our library, how to search for books and ebooks, how we can find scholarly journals and what are defined as scholarly journals, how to define your research materials, how to cite, how to look up, and 3 useful services. So I believe that all of these videos are very short and worth your while to look through. And now let's look at our second deliverable, which is going to be a discussion board. Based on the information learned in this week's assignment, locate at least one scholarly article related to your research problem and review it. In your discussion board post, summarize the article, identify why you believe it is relevant, and complete a properly formatted APA citation for the article. In addition, discuss any ethical problems that may exist with the article and/or describe whether or not the author adhered to a Christian perspective during their research and why you came to that conclusion. Below, you will find the grading criteria that's associated with it. So remember, I've talked to earlier in some of our videos how this course is built upon building blocks. And each assignment is going to be helpful and useful because not only is it an assignment today, but it'll be something that you're going to use later. In the days and weeks to come, we're going to be doing our literature review, which is going to be our chapter 2 of our prospectus, where you are going to take several academic articles and combine them and make up that chapter 2. So in this assignment, we are going to find our first. So some key points: I want you to find a scholarly article. I want you to use proper APA citation, and then you are going to use the remainder to describe the ethical considerations. Remember, our first discussion board prompt is due on day 3, and we then follow up with 2 of our colleagues. When you were replying to your colleagues, I don't want to see, I agree, good article, I like what you said about it. I want you to contribute to the academic discussion with some in-depth detail on why it's good, why you liked it, why it's relevant, what were some of the ethical issues that maybe were described, what were the Christian perspectives. So we need to be detailed and we need them to be academic. And at the end of the day, our discussion boards, the intent is that these are discussions, or this assignment would be replacing the discussion that we would have in class between your colleagues. So take time, do a nice original post, and then reply to both of, or at least 2 of your colleagues. And then finally, we have our quiz. The quiz will cover concepts from the week's readings. You have 2 attempts to complete the quiz. You'll receive the highest grade. So make sure that you do your 2 attempts and you complete that quiz. So that takes care of week 2. I hope that this is straightforward and this answers some of your questions. Like I've said in the previous videos, and I will say in all the videos moving forward, if you have any concerns, questions, problems, please reach out to me. I use the assumption that if I'm not hearing from you, is that you are you're doing well and there are no questions, and the only way that I know if there's an issue is that you reach out to me. I'm readily available to answer any of your questions, so please reach out if there's any concerns or problems. Well, I look forward to getting all of your assignments in week 2, seeing where we stand in this course, and especially to see how we are now making that next step between our problem that we identified, the problem statement that we created in week 1, and now finding academic resources to defend that. And like we've talked before, this is just going to continue in a trend, and we're going to build off this each week. So be diligent in your studies this week, and it will pay off dividends in the remainder of this course. So thank you, bye for now, and I look forward to the rest of this course together.